Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another video for you guys. This one was requested called Guy versus Sasuke featuring Kage. Now, to me, this is very interesting because I don't think I've ever actually thought about putting Guy against Sasuke. Now, for me personally, I would say that they're probably going to focus on Shippuden Sasuke because Part 1 Sasuke is not doing anything against Guy. Like, that's just, it's not going to happen. Now, let's go ahead and watch this video. Okay, so there's some audio, and this is a clip, so I got to be careful here. You got to pause just for a second. Pause. Again, I know it's annoying, but guys, if you're like, let's say you're watching this and you're new, I kind of have to do this to avoid getting in trouble with copyright. So.
Hello everyone. Today I have a extra special
Okay, we should be
guest, Sasuke. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
So we're gonna talk about Sasuke versus Guy. For the most part, at least in part one anyway. Actually no, all of part one. Guy stomping out Sasuke.
Yeah.
I mean it doesn't make sense for Sasuke, at least at that age, to be as strong as someone like Guy in part one. Someone who can open
I think even in like base, Guy
Yeah.
should be able to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause he's sitting there like damaging. No, wait, not he doesn't actually damage Kisame in that fight, but he does like actually hurt Jiraiya really bad with the dynamic entry. You could argue that it's off guard or whatever, but
yeah, he did catch him off guard, and also I think this was mostly just done for comedic effect. Like, I don't think this is a moment that's meant to be taken seriously, and also I don't think that Guy can match up to Jiraiya. I just think that Jiraiya is he's too damn strong, especially with Sage Mode. He's just personally I think that Guy just can't do anything against Jiraiya. I mean, I think he could put up a fight. Now, I didn't mean he couldn't do anything. Like, he could put up a fight, but I don't think he would win.
like it's clear that Guy is on that like Jonin. I guess I'll just call it like grown adult level, right? Because in part one, Naruto treats the like the series treats the adult characters very differently than the kid characters. It's almost like an unobtainable level of strength for them at the moment.
Yeah, and Guy does actually send Kisame flying with
I gotta be careful
that
again.
kick. Like even if he doesn't damage him, the kick does have enough force to send Kisame flying. Kisame is pretty tough.
Yeah, but no way in the world that like kid Sasuke is running up there even with a Chidori and doing that to Kisame.
Yeah, no, he's not. And also, I just want to talk about this for a second. So I think I mentioned this in a previous video where, like, I would always recommend someone read the manga over watching the anime, because the thing that kind of pisses me off about the anime is that they'll sometimes censor things, and because of that you don't get the full context of what's actually happening. Like, for example, this scene right here when Sasuke activates his Chidori, like, you can see right here, first of all, from the way that it's beautifully drawn, you can see right here what it's doing to his hand, and even all the way up to his forearm. You can see how the skin is just peeling off. You can see the damage right here, and it's just, it sucks that they didn't add this in the anime, because they censor things, and that's something that to me is just like, I've always been confused as to why that's the case. I think one of the reasons they say is that because the kids are watching, so they gotta censor some things. But the manga in and of itself is aimed towards kids, so why is the manga okay but the anime isn't? So that's just something that's always confused me. So yeah, I'll always say to someone, if you've never read the manga, the Naruto manga, I would say pick it up, read it. You'd be surprised how many things that got censored in the anime. And also sometimes the anime will add certain scenes, or they'll remove certain scenes that, again, just completely ruins the context. And that's kind of why a lot of people like tend to get confused whenever they try to make arguments for, whenever someone has a certain questions, they'll make arguments, and you'll see that some of the evidence that they use to back up their arguments is like an anime only scene, and then you point out to them that no, this is an anime only thing. It didn't happen in the manga. Like it's just it completely caused all of this like a lot of confusion. And yeah, it's so yeah, anyway, read the manga if you've never done it. And also I just want to talk about look how amazing this looks. It's absolutely beautifully drawn. And you know, again, it's the current manga. It's not that it's bad, and I would never call Ikimura a bad artist, because that's just blatantly false. But to me, it's like he just hasn't reached the same level that Kishimoto has. I know there's people out there who prefer his style over Kishimoto's, and that's fine. That's completely understandable. You know, everyone has their own tastes. But for me, it's just like there's nothing in the Boruto manga for me from beginning to end that even comes close to just this one panel alone. Just this alone beats the entire Boruto manga currently. It's insane. Like I feel like there's a lot of people out there who kind of underestimate just how good of an artist Kishimoto actually is.
Kisame would just stand there.
Like, I'm sure people don't like think Kisame is weaker than an Itachi.
Continue right
Itachi,
here.
Like punching the Chidori out the way with the fucking with this knuckle or some shit.
Well,
So
it's
yeah.
kind of gone
yeah,
here.
I mean, Guy is beating Sasuke in part 1. That's that. So where it starts to get contentious at, or at least I think Sasuke favoring, we agree on this, is like
I
Sasuke
rub my
versus
hands
early shit.
together.
Yeah. So we're both Sasuke fans. So we obviously
Just a
had
little.
to think of
A little
a
bit,
way
a little bit.
for Sasuke to win this part, and it wasn't.
There are actually
hard.
a lot of ways. Yeah, there are a lot of ways that you can scale Sasuke above Guy.
Yeah.
And it should.
So one of the ways, and I think probably the most consistent way, is to say
Okay, we should be fine.
Sasuke is over like Kakashi, who Guy is just relative to, right? Guy and Kakashi are just
Yeah.
relative throughout all the series. It's just that's their entire narrative.
Like that's
They're
their
supposed to
thing,
be
you know. They're rivals, so
eternal
they're always relative to each other.
rivals. Guy takes it a
Same
lot
thing
more
with
serious
Naruto and Sasuke, and now you're even seeing with Boruto and Kawaki.
than Kakashi does, but that's whatever. So the reason we think Sasuke is stronger than Kakashi would just be through Rasen, Shuriken, Naruto, right? Like it's sort of implied that Rasen, Shuriken, Naruto still catching up to Sasuke's level. Like that's a place
Yeah.
he wants to be at. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, Kakashi
Yeah, it's
even thinks this himself too. He thinks about how Naruto's still clearly comparing himself to Sasuke and doesn't believe he's caught up to Sasuke yet. And we've brought this up.
so I just want to talk about this for a second. I think that a lot of people kind of underestimate just how big of a feat this actually is.
He thinks
What he
about
just did right
how
here.
Naruto's
Where you know, he was able to tag the Raikage with a lightning blade, and even he says like he's surprised that he says, "I'm wearing lightning style armor, yet you actually managed to touch me." So in a previous video we reacted to from Suikage, where he's talking about you know, broken Naruto abilities, one of them was the lightning style armor. And if you saw that video, Suikage goes on to talk about why it's such a broken ability. And if you've watched that video and you know the context, then you'll know that Sasuke being able to touch him, first of all, the fact that he was able to dodge one of his attacks at all is already an insane feat. And the fact that he was able to tag him, maybe not necessarily injure him, is already in and of itself an insane feat, and puts like 5 Kage Summit Arc Sasuke above what a lot of people probably had him already at. Like a lot of people probably thought he was not really all that strong, but not all that strong. But if you go by this, it puts into context just how strong he actually was at this point.
still clearly comparing himself to Sasuke and doesn't believe he's caught up to Sasuke yet. And we've brought this up plenty of times. I mean, I have, Seth has, Six has, and plenty of videos before. But the most interesting thing about this is that it is only the version of Sasuke that Naruto fought. So it was pre-Orochimaru absorption, and it was also without any curse mark boost. It was basically base Sasuke. And after developing the Rasen Shuriken, killing Kakazu by himself, by the way, which he could not do against Pain.
Yeah,
Naruto.
no, he needed a lot of help against Pain. Like first of all, he needed people to basically feed him information on to how Pain's ability works. And even then, if it wasn't for the Nine Tails, he still would have lost. Because technically, Naruto still lost that fight. Like the Diva Path had him beat. If it wasn't for the Nine Tails, yeah, Naruto would have been captured, and it would have been in my opinion, game over for the Naruto world, because they would have had the Nine Tails, or at least one half of the Nine Tails, as we find out later on, which is still insane.
Still thinks he's weaker than Sasuke, and Kakashi picks up on this, and it's heavily implied at this point that Naruto is around Kakashi's level or has even straight up surpassed him. So this is a pretty blatant A-B-C situation where Kakashi is weaker than Naruto, who's weaker than Sasuke.
So if anyone were to contest, like, you know, CM2 Sasuke is the one they're talking about, not only does that not make sense narratively, because it's just,
it doesn't make any sense.
Nowhere is CM2 Sasuke shown. Like, every time they show the Sasuke, or they show Naruto talking about Sasuke, it's him with his little loose collar shirt on that he got after the time skip for whatever reason. I don't know why he started rocking that. It looked pretty weird. This loose collar shirt on in his base with, or at least with the Sharingan on, right? So
yeah,
Naruto's still not at that level yet.
I mean, if you think about it, it does look kind of weird. So I do kind of wonder if maybe Kishimoto's heard that feedback and thought, all right, well, maybe I should change it, have him wear like an actual shirt. As opposed to...
Even if the Rasen Shuriken ignores their ability, whatever, Sasuke is still a lot faster than Naruto. He likely hits a lot harder due to his Chidori sword that supposedly pierces anything. Hyperbolic, but whatever the fuck.
Well, it's also implied too that Naruto just got physically stronger and faster in the process of learning the Rasen Shuriken, right? Like, that's why, despite the fact that he needed to tap into multiple tails to keep up with somebody like Deidara when he was fighting Kakazu while fatigued and tired after training for 3 days straight, he was able to tag Kakazu twice. Yeah, you know, he got faster, stronger, like I said. Then of course he has this big ass nuke in his arsenal that, well, it ignores durability, so that's why you think he's stronger. But the issue with using that as a defeater for this argument is that would in theory mean that Naruto is stronger than anybody. So
which he's not.
He's not. No,
and they never say that, oh well, if you hit anybody with this, they're done. You may have even surpassed Sasuke in terms of destruct. They don't say that, right?
No.
It's still, it doesn't work on some people, like Madara or the third Raikage, right? His raw durability was just too much for.
Exactly. That's a completely false argument saying that the Rasen Shuriken could just defeat anyone. That's just not true.
But at least
even Naruto right here is holy shit, it didn't work. It's because it's not this ability that just works on everyone.
Case of Madara, that was normal. It's just Naruto's not at Sasuke's level yet. I'm pretty sure we've covered that enough. This isn't because a lot of people say that this is just being edgy and taking a statement out of context, but this is implied earlier in the series that Sasuke might be above Kakashi pre-Orochimaru absorption, when he just clowns on Team 7, right? He beats them up super bad. Easily.
And
Yamato's there, and Sakura's there too, and Sai is also there. Now Sai is kind of whatever, poop level, but
I mean, Sai, he does block. He blocks a hit from Sasuke, the one that was gonna pierce Naruto or whatever. He blocks the hit, but then he gets dismissed anyway. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
He was smiling the entire time. He was like, okay, congratulations, you managed to block a simple attack. Well, what do you want, a fucking medal?
Stream, he's just out of there. And then before that, when Sai entered the room and Sasuke put him under Genjutsu, and he's like, oh my god, I have no emotions, but he scares me to my heart.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Six and I were talking about this before, and we have both heard the Yamato and Kakashi are relative line of reasoning before, but neither of us have ever seen it. So it's up to
Well, I think this is just filler, so I wouldn't necessarily use it as
you whether or not you want to take this seriously. But if you do believe that Yamato and Kakashi are relative, then Sasuke just bodying him should be evidence enough that Sasuke is above Kakashi and by extension above Guy. At this point, you could say that Yamato was holding back, but the thing about this is, I think the most impressive thing is
You know, we still have no idea what ability he was about to use. I mean, a lot of people say that, well, he was trying to use Kirin, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, there were no thunderclouds or whatever, so and people have been making the argument that Sasuke can't use Kirin unless he has the lightning clouds. So I don't know. It's just it does kind of suck that we never found out what this technique actually was.
Sasuke blitzing all three of them. And when Yamato talks about holding back, he implies that he's just like not using
Not being
super
rough.
yeah, exactly. He's not using like deadly force, but there's no reason for him to like
hold back his speed. It literally just like it goes against the mission. The mission
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Sasuke. Why would he hold back his speed? Something that doesn't affect Sasuke. You know, I mean, if anything, he should be going all out with his speed because Sasuke has the Sharingan.
Well, yeah, exactly, right. Like it wouldn't be in character or like logically consistent at all for Yamato not like to be like intentionally toning down his reaction and movement speed or whatever, because the only reason he's not trying to kill Sasuke is as a favor to Naruto and Sakura, but they both went there with him with the intent to restrain Sasuke and like forcibly bring him back to the village, right? Like they were prepared to just fight him, beat him up, and not kill him, and no part of doing that requires them to move slower than they normally would. And even if you do want to say that Yamato was holding back significantly and include his speed in that, so was Sasuke. Not only was he not using the curse mark, but Sasuke was not trying with them at all, dude. Like it was just like another day of the week for him, you know. Like
Sasuke normally wears this like blank expression on his face, right? It's part of his like cool guy, edgy character or whatever. But he'll turn his serious face on when he's getting pressed in combat, like against Deidara or against Itachi, right? That never comes up. Never does that come up. Never does, oh, let me bring out the curse mark come up. He's clearly just not taking everyone seriously. And I'm pretty sure I've heard you mention this in the past, but then as well, Sasuke, whenever everyone enters the room, Sasuke is standing above everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's like a this is
implied.
it's like this is often used in fiction, you know, particularly in visual fiction like comics, TV shows, movies, or whatever, where, you know, when you like draw or shoot a character above all of the other characters, there's like a sort of meta narrative implication that the character is better than, stronger than, out of the reach of, or what have you, the characters that are portrayed as like beneath them. So there are so many different ways that like there are so many different things that imply that Sasuke is stronger than not just any one of them, but all of them put together in this scene. And if you think that Yamato is relative to Kakashi, or better yet, if you think that all of Team Yamato working together is relative to Kakashi, bare minimum, then Sasuke should be above him at this point.
Okay, so just a quick apology. Sorry, I didn't realize that I had the I didn't realize that I had the microphone turned off. So sorry about that. A little bit of a technical error. But if you're wondering what I was saying here, I was basically agreeing with them that this is like visual storytelling 101, where, you know, sometimes they'll have the if the author or the director wants to sort of convey to the audience that this character is either above the characters around them, or at least they think that they're above the characters around them, they'll always shoot them from like a low angle, you know, they'll always shoot from a low angle looking up at them. Or when they want to show the other character's perspective from this person's perspective, like for example from Pain, then they'll shoot the person that they're confronting from a high angle looking down at them, to show you like, okay, this is what the character thinks of the other character. Like this is what Pain thinks of Jiraiya. Like let's say Pain is here, Jiraiya is here, and the camera will be over here, and you'll see everything, you know, from down there. And it's all done in a way to try to convey to the audience, you know, a certain message. Like it's all a part of visual storytelling. So again, sorry about that. I do apologize. I didn't know I had the mic off.
That the character is better than,
All right,
stronger than them, but
wait.
all of them put together
we go.
relative to Kakashi, bare minimum, then Sasuke should be above him at this point too.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much confirmation of that. So yeah, Sasuke is just overall these guys. So he's probably beating Guy anyway, just due to him being able to outlast him. Guy gets pretty tired from the gates. They start.
Yeah, it's but again, it's like if we're talking heavy Sasuke, if Guy activates the eighth gate, it's like yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless Sasuke manages to find a way to like outmaneuver him, it's game over.
Breaking his bones, tearing his muscles, things like that. Yeah, even if Sasuke and him are like a relative, Sasuke should just win via outlasting. And then again, this is without CM2.
Yeah. If you give him CM2, it's just like, and I've talked about the multiplier before.
I think it's like a 10 times multiplier, if I remember correctly.
For anybody who isn't aware, the bare minimum, the CS2 multiplier is 10 times, because that's what it was for Jirobo. But Sasuke and Kimimaro had the strongest curse seals. And
so I guess maybe that multiplier doesn't apply to them, because if they have a stronger curse seal, then maybe the multiplier is actually more. Like, let's say it could be like 50 times more instead of 10 times more.
Now, strongest implies a variable level of power between all of them. So it could be anywhere from like 11 times to 20 times to even like 50 times, right? We don't know, but it is just greater than or equal to a 10 times amp, which is like a really big deal when he's already tossing around people who like in Yamato's case are arguably relative to Kakashi. In Sakura's case, like she's not able to keep up with him, but she was able to react to attacks from Sasori, who was you know, blatantly Kage level,
just via killing multiple of them.
Yeah, and since Guy needed to bust out the 6th gate to fight a 30% clone of Kisame. Now, granted, he won very quickly with the 6th gate, but it's very easy to argue then that, you know, 5th gate and below, he just wouldn't have been able to handle like 3/10.
He does say he would need that though. He says he needs to use the 6th gate.
Yeah, he
that's right. Yeah, you're right. It's like I have no other choice or something. To that effect.
Yeah, and it's insane because remember, this was just Kisame, like 30% of his power, which is crazy. Like that just shows you just how strong Kisame actually is. I mean, there's a reason why they call him the tailless tailed beast, because that's how much chakra he has.
He says he has no other choice but to use 6th gate. So then, actually, when you just said that, it made me think of another way you could say Sasuke over Guy at this point. So like, if you say Guy has to use 6th gate to beat up 30% Kisame, right? B and Kisame have a run-in, and Sasuke and B have a run-in. And you can argue like Sasuke is stronger than Kisame at that point. They say Taka Sasuke is physically weaker than Heavy Sasuke. So you can maybe say like, oh, Heavy Sasuke over Kisame, who's like around Guy's level. So I mean, that's another way to just say Heavy Sasuke beat up Guy.
Who's actually like around Guy's level without his sword in the war arc when Guy's using the 7th gate and is significantly stronger, right? Like that's the crazy thing. And we can actually get more into that.
Don't they say the swordsmen are nerfed when they don't have their swords? Like
yes, like, significantly. And I think that you could I think that in my opinion, it is now. I don't think this is stated anywhere, but I think it is at least sort of implied that this is the most true in.
Sorry, I just gotta.
Kisame's case, because his sword literally makes him stronger by giving him chakra. Yeah. So
the tailed beast, most chakra in the Akatsuki.
So for him to be fighting Guy without his sword and arguably only lose because his jutsu gets eaten and absorbed by Guy's. Like,
he literally didn't know what he was up against. Like, he chose to use a move that absorbs chakra, thinking Guy's attack was chakra.
I think that was a mistake. Like, he made a mistake that we see a lot of people use in the, or a lot of people make, in the in the Naruto series, which is that whenever they go into a fight, either not knowing a lot about their opponent or severely underestimating them, it always ends up biting them in the ass. Which does make you ask the question, like, if Kisame knew about Guy's techniques, and if he knew what this was, then it is possible that Guy would not have survived that fight. I think you can make the argument that the only reason why he survived is because he had some techniques that Kisame wasn't fully aware of, and that worked to his advantage.
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone uses chakra attacks except Guy, so it's like it's not even a mistake you can blame him for making.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
pure air
exactly.
pressure.
It's not his fault. He just got hard countered again without his sword, and he was also already injured by a kick from KCM Naruto. So, and
It was a punch.
again, this was against War Guy, who is based on the fact that Guy and Kakashi should always be relative or whatever, should be significantly stronger than he was around the time that Heavy Sasuke was still a thing. So
Yeah, but I mean that's it for like Heavy Sasuke and early Shippuden Guy. I mean, I think we've explained thoroughly, like through I don't know how many ways, 5 at least.
yeah.
That Sasuke would just win that fight.
Yeah, I know people are gonna say we're just wanking Sasuke, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Probably, but I
Maybe but
don't think we've been like dishonest or misrepresented anything.
No,
you know?
not
So-
at all.
I mean, I think they're just they're stating facts. I don't think they're like wanking him. I think they're just showing you, like, no, based on what this series tells us, this is how strong he is.
If you have a problem.
If anything, the arguments have just been consistent.
So, if you have a problem or if you think we're wrong, please let us know in the comments. Give us
As
a good,
always.
thorough analysis of the series. But don't just say we're wrong because we like Sasuke.
Yeah, it's a lot of people do have the tendency to do that. It's they just don't like the fact that either it's because they don't like the character or they just want the other character to win. They'll just say, no, you're wrong or whatever.
Because we know we like Sasuke. We know we're
it's-
biased. I still don't
I
think
like Guy too.
our
though.
argument is
I
that.
like Guy too.
Guy's an awesome character. He's one of my favorites. But again, if we're being honest, a lot of Sasuke's feats does put him above Guy, with the exception of maybe the 7th gate or the 8th gate. That's just, again, we're just stating facts. We're not being, or I say we. They're not being, at least in my opinion. I don't think they're being like biased. I just think that they're stating facts.
So
Yeah. I like Guy a lot as well. Not as much as Sasuke.
Yeah, he's an awesome character.
But
yeah.
I just like, because I want to be able to say that Guy would win, to shake off the whole Uchiha bias thing. I think I've done a good enough job not solely repping Uchiha in versus battles involving them for a while at this point, but every time I say an Uchiha wins, I get it. So
To defend Swag, he did join the call with me saying that he thought Guy would win this part.
Yeah,
we had to like go over it and go over like why Sasuke would win. So
and then I was like, oh wait, yeah, never mind. I don't think Guy has a chance, bro.
exactly.
It's
the
insane,
next part
but,
where this sort of gets like contentious again is EMS versus 7th Gate in the war.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
it's interesting. This should be interesting.
now I'm gonna make a lot of people upset by saying, based on what we've already talked about, it's arguable that Kage Summit MS Sasuke might be able to beat that guy. Like, based on the fight with B, like we said, and the fact that Kisame was way weaker without Samehada when he fought 7th Gate Guy.
The Karin statement, like Sasuke being stronger than CM2 with just his 3-tomo Sharingan.
Yeah, and the fact that with like one MS attack, Sasuke almost beat B. Now, keep in mind, I did say almost. Obviously, he didn't win.
He didn't,
B made it look like he was killed on purpose so he could
escape.
get away from the storm cloud ravine. I know that, but I think it would be pretty dishonest for anybody to say he wasn't damaged by Amaterasu, right?
Yeah.
And
B even says, like, Sasuke is the strongest. Well, he says probably the strongest guy I've ever fought, and I got carried away. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Like, okay, so this is a statement from B himself. Like that he himself is putting Sasuke at a high level, and it's like I just don't necessarily see how Guy could be able to beat MS Sasuke. And also keep in mind when he was fighting Sasuke, Jugo made the statement that Sasuke still hasn't fully healed from his fight against Itachi. So the Sasuke that fought B with the Mangekyo Sharingan wasn't even at 100%. So that is like, that should tell you just how strong he actually is. And like, I just don't really see how Guy could be able to match up against that. Again, seventh gate, I would say he would put up a much better fight. And I don't know. It's like, to me personally, I just think that Sasuke would edge out the victory. Now, if it was 8 gates, yeah, Sasuke can't do anything. But again, I don't think that Guy, unless he believes that Sasuke is like 100% serious about, you know, sort of going through with his plan, and that he thinks that, okay, like, I need to stop this guy now. I need to activate the 8 gates because, like, I'm willing to sacrifice my life to save the world. I don't see any situation where a guy would pull out the 8 gates.
Now Sasuke has
He's
2
substituted for a
MS.
reason.
Yeah, exactly. And now Sasuke has 2 MS, is no longer physically weaker than Heavy Sasuke, is apparently even... A lot of people think it's contentious to say that he was stronger than CS2 Sasuke with his Mangekyo Sharingan. I personally think he was, and I think that the statement about the chakra being colder...
I do think that he did lose some advantages. Like, one thing that Sasuke did say that, you know, one of the benefits to absorbing Orochimaru was he gained his quick healing ability. So he did lose that. So it's understandable that he did lose some things. But at the same time, considering the power he got in exchange, I do think it's like he didn't lose that much. In fact, I think he gained more than what he had before.
I think she also says denser, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, thicker.
Thicker, yeah, than in CS2. I think that that's enough to say that he's probably stronger. Yeah.
I mean, like, the whole act of entering Curse Mark 2, you think like his chakra's getting thicker. Like, maybe Karine is thinking it's thicker because like he's imbuing his chakra with nature energy and she can't really sense that part. She just senses it growing. But then now it's also growing, and it's growing more than what it was when he enters CM2. You come to the conclusion he's stronger. I mean, it definitely makes sense narratively anyway. If like Sasuke's getting stronger all this time, like he's getting new Susanoo forms, all these hatred amps, but he can't surpass like this one power Orochimaru gave him a long time ago. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be really weird. So, and now again, I get that it's contentious to say that he could beat Guy at this point. So I will leave it at it's arguable, but I think that EMS Sasuke just beats him up.
He's just
really bad.
EMS Sasuke would beat him.
EMS Sasuke and Edo Itachi around the same level.
Yeah, bare minimum, I think, at the very least, actually. I think that EMS Sasuke gets stronger than EMS, or not EMS Itachi, Edo Itachi. Edo Itachi is actually basically EMS Itachi.
Yeah, same
but I think that EMS Sasuke gets stronger than Edo Itachi throughout the Ten Tails and Jubito fights.
Yeah,
but
he also gets more hatred for Konoha, like after talking to Itachi, so that should make him stronger as well.
Yeah, that is true, because remember, it is stated that hatred makes their Sharingan a lot stronger. So yeah, I mean, if he hates the Leaf even more, then yeah, it would make him a lot stronger after talking to him.
Exactly. So I've actually talked about the character arc that Sasuke goes through in a video that I made
okay, there we go.
Like 700,000 years ago. And one of the cool things that's done with him is that like hatred is a core part of his character, and we also know that Uchiha get hate amps. You know, like when they experience really strong hatred, it makes them physically stronger. It makes their chakra more powerful.
And
Sasuke goes from directing his hatred at a single person, which is Itachi, to just, you know, the Leaf Village elders, to the Leaf Village as a whole, to by the end of the war and the end of Shippuden, the entire world.
Yeah.
And I think after he talks to the Hokage, he's in this whole world state. I think it's mostly the Kage or the Hokage and Itachi conversations that shift him towards this, which might be one of the reasons he gets stronger in the Obito fight than he was when he was fighting Kabuto. Because I think Itachi was definitely like outperforming him in the Kabuto fight.
Yeah, for the most part of it, he was. Itachi's just more battle experienced than Sasuke is.
It does suck that Itachi was kind of outperforming him because like one thing that did kind of suck, and I've talked about this I don't know how many times, but one thing that does kind of suck about the when Sasuke got the EMS is we never got to see what he could really do. Like he kept having, like, Kishimoto kept focusing on other characters. You know, first it was Itachi and then Naruto, and it's just like he kind of got like pushed to the side for a while, and I don't know why that's the case, but it's just
Yeah. You know, like Sasuke hadn't really used EMS before. He wasn't used to being that strong. There are a whole lot of potential reasons for it. But I think that like the fact that he's able to keep up with Naruto and you know, like the 10 tails up and, you know, all this other stuff that he does. He definitely seems like he's surpassed Itachi and definitely is like way out of Kabuto's league. And, you know, he's able to like match KCM Naruto's chakra output, which is like insane. Stuff like that. So I think he's stronger, but like Six was saying at the beginning, he's definitely bare minimum at Edo Itachi's level. So where were you going with that?
Yeah, so Edo Itachi definitely categorized as like one of the major players in the war. So there's like 3 major boss battles going on, right? It's like it's Kakashi, Guy, and Naruto and B versus Obito, Itachi and Sasuke versus Kabuto, and the 5 Kage versus Madara, right? Itachi's got arguably the most important battle at the moment, and I don't think that Itachi being over like Kakashi and Guy is something people will contest, right? It's sort of like the case for the majority of what we see of Naruto.
Yeah,
like,
Itachi's just on another
every time
level.
Kakashi and Itachi run into each other, Itachi's just superior.
What I will say is, if anybody actually truly thinks that Kakashi or Guy is over Edo Itachi, Edo Itachi did save Naruto and B from Nagato and did stab Nagato with the Totsuka blade. Now, this is a whole separate conversation. We're not going to get into Itachi versus Nagato right now.
Yeah, I think they already did that, didn't they? Like, didn't we see a video Itachi versus Pain or?
But I'm pretty sure that even with Naruto and B there helping them out, Kakashi and Guy would have got bodied by that like bloodlusted Nagato who'd like absorbed the 8 tails chakra. So with that in mind, yeah, I mean, like if you agree with that, then you agree. Itachi's above probably both of them at the same time,
at the same
right?
time, yeah, that's where I was going with that. And then, you know, Sasuke to that person, he should just beat up Guy. I mean, like it's not really fair at all. Like Guy's best thing is like not hitting Jubi Madara.
Yeah, basically.
So I'm good to end it here. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No. I mean, some people are gonna be like, well, what about 8th Gate Guy? He certainly gets the W, right? And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, obviously over EMS Sasuke, yeah, sure. But I don't think you needed 6 or me to tell you that. We're on Sasuke's team, you know, but we're not that deep in the down bad for Sasuke camp, right? I don't think either of us would say EMS beats 8th Gate Guy. But
then the Rinnegan.
Yeah, if you want to be fair, if we're using EOS versions of the characters, then yeah, Rinnegan Sasuke comes in. And I think this is the hardest stomp, like
thus far. It's not even little bit close to being close. Like Chibaku Tensei, Guy's done.
Yeah,
because there's no core. There's no core with Sasuke's. You just get turned into a rock.
Yeah, you are the core of Sasuke's Chibaku Tensei. It's so wild. I mean, like, well, Guy was just like, let's just say he beat 10 Tails Madara, right? Let's just say he beat. Let's simplify it. I won't go through all the steps like I normally do when I bring this up. Let's just say he beat him, but he struggled, right? Then base 6 pads Naruto comes in and just bodies him way faster than Guy quote unquote beat Madara, and Madara just like gives up at this point. He's like, I can't win like this. I gotta do something that absorbs the tree.
Yeah, the God
and then
tree. I needed my second Rinnegan.
Sasuke is relative to the cloaked version of that Naruto.
So he's got 2 levels over Guy. Actually, no, that's got to be more than 2 levels. I'm just calling it that, but
yeah,
we're basically saying he's one-shotting Guy.
Yeah, basically, it's like at least 2 tiers above Guy in terms of power. Because I mean, it's just it's like it's not fair at all. There are a lot of people who think 8th Gate Guy is just like hanging with those end of series characters.
No.
I have friends ask me all the time actually about DMS Kakashi versus 8th Gate Guy, and they get shocked when I say DMS Kakashi stops. But Guy's just not built like that. I'm sorry, fellas.
That might be worse than the Sasuke one. DMS. I don't want to get into that, but it might honestly be worse than the Sasuke one. That one. I mean, oh my God.
We could do that at some point in the future. Actually, I've talked about it with Seth before, but I wouldn't mind talking about it again since that video is 600 trillion years old and the meta has changed. So if you guys want to see a Kakashi versus Guy video structured like this, where we talk about all the versions and end it off with DMS versus 8th Gate, let us know.
Yep, but we got to get out of here. We both have things to do. It's the holiday, so
bye.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the video. Okay, so yeah, there's the video. Now I guess I look forward to the people in the comments who will of course make their arguments, which you're of course more than welcome to do. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think of what we watched here in this video, and what do you think of Guy against Heavy Sasuke, Taka Sasuke, and then of course EMS Sasuke, and then Rinnegan Sasuke? Rinnegan Sasuke, I think we can all agree, would just destroy Guy. Like, Guy is just not doing anything against Rinnegan Sasuke. But it's like they even said something. It's kind of obvious. 8th Gate Guy would just kill him. Like, you didn't need someone to argue that. It's kind of obvious. Like, everyone would know that. But I think the argument is like, let's say 7th Gate and below. How would he do against, let's say, Heavy Sasuke and Taka Sasuke, MS Sasuke and EMS Sasuke? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember to leave a like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. Help me get to 1,000. And as always, guys, I'll leave a link to the video as well as Six's channel and Suikage's channel in the description, so make sure to check it out. I'll also leave a link to my second channel. Go and subscribe over there because I plan to post content there that I can't post here because YouTube likes to screw with you. So bye for now.